Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by AcousticHealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Get ready to be activated in this very sacred space today. My guest is a very sacred one, a very sacred light worker who's been working with the grids, receiving information and messages from the grids, from the ascended masters who are actually assisting in the structure of a new crystalline matrix that we all have access to. Perhaps you are already aware of this, but we are really in it now. Nora WalksInSpirit is part of the Algonquin Native heritage, and she's been a healer for over 20 years, working with Gaia and so many of the beings on our planet who are assisting in the shift of consciousness. Get ready for a beautiful activation of light. Let's welcome Nora WalksInSpirit to Quantum Conversations. Nora, thank you for being here. Welcome to the show.
Well, I'm glad to be here with everybody.
We are looking forward to hearing of this new grid system, what it's all about. What I really love about it is that our consciousness is ready for us to fully move into the fifth dimension. So there still may be some periods of us releasing density, releasing the old matrix, the third dimension, but fully stepping into this new crystalline matrix. So really, let's start there, because even just yesterday, you brought through some fascinating information.
Yes, this full moon energies and all the lunar activities that are coming in now are really amplifying these 5D consciousness fields around us, and it's actually attracting the higher light beings to start assembling around the head, where we seem to be emanating like the higher vibrations, and creating a field of light, very much like the masters of Christ consciousness and Buddha, the different saints who emanated light in the photographs and paintings that you'd see of the light essence around the head.
Mm-hmm.
And so they show me that the essence of a presence of light is now more predominantly spoken out of the temples, out of the third eye, out of the back of the head, out of the throat chakra and heart chakra. And it is attracting these higher species and ancient ones and civilizations during the lunar activities. It really started opening up this year at, the very first full supermoon in January, the eclipses thereafter, and the spring solstice. It started to really ramp up.
Mm-hmm.
And now, last night's message came in that higher beings, Venusians and Andromeda, builders of form and science of the mind, atomic builders, just started bringing in messages, very, very high frequency messages, but very interesting, like extremely interesting, how they want to format a holographic grid in front of our bodies, around our bodies, behind our bodies, and you would just be breathing that frequency into your chakras. And as your chakras start spinning from a base chakra system to the solar chakra system, you're going to be amplifying the whole body into a crystalline field.
Wow. Okay, that's amazing. We're going to talk a little bit more about what that means
Sure.
and how we work with it, because it's very fascinating. And this, personally, I've been very dizzy since that March equinox, actually a few weeks leading up to it. And then again, you know, it subsided over the past weeks. But then just recently, with this most recent full moon, it seems like I've gotten dizzier, even when I'm lying down asleep in bed or awake in bed. And that's just bizarre to me. And I do realize that there is, it's got to do something with expanding consciousness or the frequencies. And then when we look and we know that yesterday was the third full moon celebration of the spring festivals. This one was the Goodwill Festival of Humanity, a very powerful activity of light.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you were saying that it's attracting these higher light beings, higher species around our heads, and that it's creating this light coming out of our temples, the third eye in the back of the head, well, that would explain why so many are reporting a sense of dizziness. But it doesn't just have to be dizziness either. It could be other, let's say, symptoms of this activity of light.
Yeah, you would also have a sense of an altered state.
Yes.
And that altering state is like you're here, but you're not here. You're about to do something, and you feel like you've already done it, or it's completed. And that is kind of almost a feeling also of like being in a time warp. And there's a message coming in right now, if that's okay.
Yes, please bring it forward.
As what happens when it feels to me when Nora starts asking a question, the masters start coming in the higher languages, light languages, to give a directional response. So you're asking the altered states of the mind. Ya waya kara shita te kiriu, na ya kuwa hara ya the kuya ishiyana, wa de te kiri ishukurabea. An amplification, the korabari ichi ishi yurano of the cellular body, the kiriya, that is infusing the enshukura intelligent fields from our light matrix patterns that we are projecting into those chakra systems. The yara shirano around the head. The head has a heightened chakra grid system, into we are infusing our infinite intelligent fields of knowledge into those who are advancing into mastery. In this fifth dimension, we are able to enhance those souls into crystallite soul masters, and that frequential vibration that is from humanness frequencies into our heightened intelligent vibrational tones and languages does bring through the altered state of consciousness. The Amaya Shuru, we ask the Erishirno that you simply be in stillness, in heightened states of stillness. Will the heart chakra breathe in our light? The body and the mind will become balanced. The ahadishurno, the coherence of light frequencies, will blend a harmonic tone into the entire body and its grid system. No longer will you be altered, dizzy, or feelings of uneasiness. We leave.
Oh, wow. Okay, beautiful.
So you will have the amplification of tingling on the crown chakra right now, because the essence of that light presence has just infused you with knowledge, but it's also raised up your consciousness in the chakras in the head.
Yes, there is no dizziness at the moment. Okay.
Well, you don't want
Wow.
to feel uneasy and uncertain. And some people actually, I hear they get a bit of anxiety.
Yes, or you could go into worry and fear, and I have heard reports of people feeling the collective, right? They could say it's the collective, maybe it's a part of us as well, feeling a little bit of fear every now and then, or worry. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that uncertainty is just the imbalance of the two differing, very differing vibrations of the third dimensional linear body and its mind of programs being introduced to a very high peace. There's no fear in this. It's peace. So this highest light of intelligence, of peace and harmony, is much different than the base third dimensional fear and programs of just being uncertain all the time. It's like stepping into the cold water in the lake. The body has to get used to that feeling and adjust the vibration of the water being cold to the temperature of the energy fields in your body. It's the same thing.
Yes.
Some people like to jump off the dock into the lake full swimming in. Some people wade in and get used to the water. It's no difference with this 5D consciousness and the beyond consciousness. Yeah.
Okay, I love that metaphor of it, and when you do jump into that water, it takes a little bit of a bravery, and if it's a little chillier than we're used to, it will take your breath away. So,
and your heart does go into that shock for a split second, and immediately the brain adjusts and the heart beats, but the whole body's tingling. And so these are the people that just go rockets right out into the higher frequencies, and they just love to receive the higher messages when they come in. There's still an adaptation that you have to adapt to it, and the body in its memory of the cellular particles have to accept it. So a lot of times the masters come to me and say, just be in freedom and accept. The biggest thing that we have unknowingly is acceptance. As soon as you accept that there's a beautiful presence beside you, that there's a beautiful energy of light coming in with this full moon, moving into I accept and I receive, you don't have that unsettledness anymore. The soul and the body and the mind move into I receive and I accept all that you have for me, and all is in perfection. Once there's an acceptance, then everything calms down. All the tissues calm down, the adrenal, the endocrine, everything just calms down and just bees in stillness.
Yes. Well, it's interesting because it's like a surrender. We're surrendering to it. We're not giving up, but we're accepting and surrendering.
Yeah. And when you do that every single day, or every time you have that waveform that comes in that you feel, oh, here comes a little bit of hypertension or stress or fear or uneasiness, you immediately say, oh, hold on a second, I receive and I accept this wonderful new frequency. And when the body accepts it through the mind, then you will have less and less of those days of altered fear states. Because the mind starts gradually just understanding, oh, that's that same frequency of new energies of of light that I want to accept. And you start running a new program, not of fear, of acceptance and surrendering.
Yes, okay, that we've talked a lot about clearing and the need to clear out the density in this programs, but it seems like with this new energy that we're going to be able to experience and anchor it and attune to it today with you in an activation. But as we're here and experiencing this new energy, the resistance, so don't resist it. You were saying that accept it, yes, and so here are these higher light beings creating this matrix around us. It really is infusing us with energies, and so the more that we can help others understand this as well, that will help everybody. But I can see how, because it does bring up the shadow side, right, or these anxieties, where it's really important to just be with it and to maintain a feeling of bliss and peace, although sometimes that seems easier said than done.
Yeah, well, it's all new. You know, it's all new, and it's really about trusting that, you know, we can't see it, most of us, and some of us can't hear, and some people can't hear, but every one of us feels it. And you know, when you have a knowingness that this is the presence of a master essence that's coming to assist you in raising up your consciousness, it's easy to accept. But when it's an unknown, you can't see it, you immediately go into fear. But when you trust that, oh, this is something different, like a child will just trust things and they don't get scared. They just kind of look and wait. You know, like animals, they'll just sit and wait and look. If we do that now more, trusting that it is a higher field, yes, but it's also coming to assist us, then we can easily adapt to it and accept it and start running that adapting and accepting program. You know, from my shamanic training, the Algonquin 8 fire rites, I do know that, you know, there is dark and there is light, you know, and so if something's coming in that's not of the light, you know, you're going to have a very uneasy, but you're going to have a bigger fear. You're going to have something that's going to be more intrusive. It won't be like that now in the fifth dimension. You're going to be able to know and sense by going in stillness and calling in the light, and that clears it. Because I know some people always get concerned, oh, I don't know what it is. Could be, you know, a dark thing. And they don't need to be spooked now, I guess is what I'm saying. If you align into these higher grid systems that are crystal formats that are coming, you're in a very high state of protection.
Beautiful. Okay, we're going to talk about what that really means to align to the higher grid systems. First, we're going to talk more about what they are. But I do just want to make a comment to what you were just speaking of about knowing that these are energies, new energies, and being able to adapt to it. And I was talking with someone recently, and it's like, you know, in this moment, the ever-present moment, we can vacillate. We can be feeling so much love for all of humanity and taken like to a great elation. For me, it happens when I'm driving a lot. It's kind of wild how that happens. And then in the very next moment, it could get linear or 3D. And you and I were talking earlier that it's almost as if we are getting to that point where we're not going to have a foot in each world, the lower dimensional 3D world or the 5D. We're really going to move into the 5D more and more.
Yeah, it's really about standing in your power and and the power of the higher mind, or the master mind of what you're transforming into with these crystalline grids that are here and crystalline essences that you're breathing in with the 5D consciousness, you're just going to start emanating that frequency of no, not now. I have been speaking to the little girl of Nora for the past year, every time, which is the mind and the ego, and every time that linear thought form would come in of, not trusting or not knowing, I would go, no, not now. No, we're not listening. And go right back into the alignment of the higher frequency to enter down through the crown into the inner mind and go into absolute stillness. No words, no thought forms. Just retain your frequency into that highest state of stillness until you actually feel the inner pineal crystal spinning in a Merkaba rotation, till you actually feel there's a different frequency around my ears. And then you feel it in your heart. You hold that stillness in your heart. How does you in the anyway? And then you know you are transformed back into the higher state. And always having that knowingness that the mind is always going to bring in a little sneak shot of a word that says this or a feeling that does that, but you're right on top of it. And focus on being on top of it. Maybe it's 100 times a day. Depending how busy your mind is and how much chattering goes on. But if I treat Nora, or I did, like she was like a 4-year-old coming out of the bedroom for like the afternoon nap. No, not now. Go back to your room. And the more I would talk to my mind, the less and less it would be an interruptive field. So that now when I take my car ride or doing something operative and I stay in that frequency, the focus is not as long on the interruptive mind. And what happens with this 5D consciousness, it's empowering so many people. There's thousands and thousands of people that are getting messages and amplifying their souls into the higher frequencies. It's becoming easier to douse out those linear thought forms.
Yes, it is becoming easier. I know there are some that are still struggling with it, but this gives those so much hope and inspiration because we can see the work to go into the stillness, retain your frequency, and align with those higher grid systems and shift it.
And trust. And absolute trust that if this is the better path, and everything that there used to be is keep your eyes on the prize, right? And that's what's happening is the inner mind's eye for me is the mastermind that's going to be the prize, right?
Yes.
So it's all good. It's all excellent. It's all so exciting to me.
Yes, okay.
And especially when you see someone that shifts, when they get it, and they go, wow. And you see their eyes light up, and you see the biggest grin of like, oh, I got it. And they're connected. They're connected to their higher crystal essence. They know their light code. They know their master. It's just, and now they're off and running. That's it.
Oh, okay. Well, we are being enhanced into our crystalline soul mastery, and you are assisting us into aligning with the higher grid systems. So let's talk about this now, the grid system. When you're talking about the matrix, it's not the old Earth 3D matrix that is no more, that's only held within our memories, that actually keeps it activated. You're talking about the new crystalline matrix, and there's a universal grid system as well. So maybe you can weave your personal story of how you began to communicate with the masters on this grid in your personal story. You've been doing it for decades now.
Yeah.
And what it means then to align with this higher grid system.
Yeah, it really started unveiling or unraveling itself to me just only in the last year of how this beautiful masterminded journey was placed before me back in 2000. And I started going to, I got a message the very first time when I was in Lake Titicaca, and a very high being came in and first delivered me a message of oneness consciousness. And I didn't understand what it was back then or how it was going to be, but it was just very endearing, high frequency, and it just said, you will raise up the consciousness and bring oneness to all. That's all that was said. And going through the next few years of going through at least 12 or 14 sacred portals on the planet, I was drawn to go to the grid line, like Stonehenge or Canlish Stones or Skellig Island or the pyramids in Egypt on the 12-12-12. I was just sent to these different portals around the planet, and every one of these ley lines and grid lines had a very high energetic being or frequency that I would tap into. And I didn't realize how this journey was really unveiling my true soul purpose and mission on the planet just until about a year ago, when I started gathering in the different beings, like this beautiful rock formation in Hawaii named Po, that was from a different dimension. And all of a sudden now, with this high frequency coming in the past year, all of these different species and dimensions of languages and information started coming back again to me. And it was like connecting this grid to that grid to that grid. And I would look at it in my higher mind, and there would be a spark. So I was like, oh, okay, so there's electrical light frequencies inside the pyramids. So there's an electrical same spark in Chichen Itza. There's an electrical spark, and it was kind of like lighting up a map on the wall of these 13, 14 different portals that I visited since 2000. And now they give me, my footprints are in those portals. And the foot chakra has a crystal grid imprint. And we have a volcanic eruption in Hawaii with Lemurian vibrations entering into the grid system. And it all started happening, you know, desert sands are going to be sparking up their originating grid systems, and nodes and nodules, all those different energies in the desert sands in the Himalayas, all are beginning to spark a crystal essence into the hearts and minds of everything that's on the planet. So all of a sudden they showed me this huge map of a crystalline system that's going to be unveiling itself on the planet. She won't be the 3D grid just laying there. It'll be crystallizing and amplifying. And all of our soul lifetimes will start amplifying within the crystals in our body. Crystals in the grid system in the head, such as the pineal crystals or heart seed crystals. And they all start amplifying, and we become oneness with all the grid systems and ley lines on the planet, with our systems in our body. and you will be in oneness formats. In all of your grid systems, on your outer fields will be the rings within the rings, that will format heightened vibrations of light onto one another. You will become telepathic communicators. To communicate beyond dimensions will be through sonar waves and telepathic waves of your own grid systems that you will be co-creating within your body, and transmitting to your outer body. Nia, Gaia, and her kingdoms will also be elevating into crystallized formats to your grid systems. You as the human forms, are the evolved species that we in the universes will be amplifying and communicating from our universal grid systems. That is the oneness consciousness, child, that we have been teaching you. So it's a pretty vast journey all of a sudden that I'm now evolving into, from walking on those ley lines and grids and laying on the desert sands at the Sphinx and different places. Now I have incorporated those imprints in my outer fields, in my cellular body, in my inner mind, for these masters to start, rebuilding, restructuring, reformatting a whole new being. And it can be done. It can absolutely be done, and it can be done by everyone.
Great. That's a great comment, because I was going to ask you, do we need to go travel the world like you did, or because you've done that, you can help us achieve it from wherever we are on the planet?
Yeah, telepathically, and once you become more amplified, it's just a network that just creates within itself, like the flower of life. The circle within the circle within the circle amplifies the next circle. And we are harmonically attuning our own minds and our own fields just by being with light-minded people and gathering more and more light souls into these higher conversations and higher activations while you're creating a new grid in your outer field.
Yes, that does explain. I know all of us can look back just recently, even in recent weeks or recent months, and see the conversation, how it may have changed, how more people that we speak to are open to these ideas and these topics that we talk about on this show. And that's a good sign. And we do know that it is time to really gather with like-minded, whether that be on the internet or in person. We're all feeling that call to create our local little tribes where we can really make this normal and make it mainstream.
Yeah, it's so nice that you don't have to get on an airplane. You don't have to travel the miles and miles, to get to these places, because you can, place your higher vibration through a remote transmission, through a knowingness transmission, and that's what will happen when you stay in these higher mindsets.
Okay. Well, let's experience an activation and atonement to accept and receive these energies. And then we can talk more about what it really means to do a remote transmission.
Oh, sure.
Okay. All right.
All right. So I just like to get nicely settled into stillness, because I work with the stillness at all times, and I'm just going to bring myself into that state. I find that the languages will automatically just come in. The messages come through, and I hear the word and of the Master speaking through me, and then a lot of times this light language will pour through. And I actually asked, why does this language come through? And they gave me that it is to calm the minds and amplify the bodies, so that you're not understanding the word that's spoken. It's the vibration and the tone of the language that alters the mind to go into stillness, because it doesn't understand what's being said. So it quickly goes into quietness, and it also tunes the body into a higher frequency. That's part of the atonement and attuning, is the combination of the word and then the word spoken, which is of a light language that cannot be understood. It's simply interpreted. So that's kind of how these activations come through with me. They're words, they're activations of what you can understand that's going to take place, and then a language comes in, which really just bathes the molecular structure, the brainwave pattern, and the heart rate softens, and you just go into the bliss. So just wanted to give you an idea of how it goes. So we'll get into that right now. Ni ama ni no, yachikira no, yach and chirano. We anchor our footprints into Gaia and crystalline energies that are seeping through her grid systems into our foot chakras, into our own grid systems, so that we are polarized and aligned into her heartbeat. The empowerment and enlightenment of a strand of light now cones down from the heavenly realms into the crown chakra, housing the master soul of light of who you truly are, to bring forward a message of knowledge, wisdom, and the abilities to amplify the human soul into electromagnetic fields of light. We welcome the Masters of Light, the illumined ones, known and unknown ones of light, holiest of holies, in all pyramid formats above the crown, into the pineal seeds, into the grid system and chakras of the body. All is guarded, protected, and transmitting light onto all, while you are anchored into the deepest core of Gaia's crystalline heartbeat through your foot chakras. We breathe in these energies of the Masters and align into Gaia's heartbeat within our own heartbeat. To ignite a crystal light grid system that will transmit from the heart to the upper heart, to the throat, and lighting up the entire head. breathing out and pushing out any low vibrations that are not of your highest master essence that is now moving within you. Biachi to Korana, the master of the highest light essence within you, is removing the low memory fields in all cellular bodies and low energies of low emotional frequencies in any of your organs, brain, heart, inner mind, muscle tissues, within the body. Dissolving. Low vibrations transmute into vibrations of light. Breathe. Any attachments on the back of the head, on the back of the neck, or on the body fields from other projected thought forms, human and otherwise, will all be swept away and filtered through into the electromagnetic field that is now encasing your body and its outer field of light. A column of light is now surrounding your entire being, purifying, amplifying, cleansing, and aligning a pure white light essence around you, above you, below you, and it is sealing you in your own divine light while you are letting go during this activation and word of knowledge. There will be a peeling away layer by layer at the throat and heart chakra and at the back of the head of any other lingering vibrations from any of your timelines that are exposing and purging out of the body. In all soul timelines and soul dimensional timelines, they are all being released as you are moving and amplifying into a crystalline grid system within the entire body. Yet you are being prepared. The essence of the light beings that walk around you and within the energetic fields of Gaia are of crystal light frequencies. And there is an anchoring vibration deep, deep inside the core of Gaia that is housing your own light vibration connected to that column of light, monitoring you, housing you, connecting you to her grid system of crystalline essences. Let those strands of light and sparks of your essence move through and transmit out of your foot chakras so that Gaia may house you and hold you in her heartbeat during the word of knowledge that will be delivered now. You will be polarized, yet you will be floating and amplifying to the word spoken. Yet you could about it you know I arrived, child, I arrive. I arrive to bring the message of atonement and attunement. The Ichukurabariya. There is an atonement of change that is arriving in all hearts and minds on this planet. And those who are amplifying harmonically, attuning energetic fields within their inner mind's eye, inner mind, and inner ear. Will they be soaring into the dimensions beyond, calibrating new essence of new patterns, of new programs, for their master year is arrived in this year of 11. There will be 3 heightened vibrations of light beings that will arrive to code a new chord of consciousness into the new membrane of their crystalline grid within the head and within the body at the heart. Did you know you are shifting and transitioning and transmuting and transforming all in the same breath each day now? And since these transmuting, transforming, transitioning, transfiguring frequencies are causing an altered state of the human mind and human heartbeat, there is a balance wave of atoning and attuning your entire body's field to a shift in the new paradigm of the new programs of operations of the human mind that will be delivered. It has already begun settling into oneness each day as you receive new messages and new messengers during your sleep state. You are divinely arriving into your new soul journey. It is unfolding each day now, and this heightened change of transformation into the 5th dimensional consciousness is also allowing you to field your magnetic vibration of light into a oneness consciousness, so that all will begin atoning their own body, mind, and soul into a unique vibration of receiving, aligning, adapting, and accepting waveforms without interruptions of the human mind. This allows the atonement to attune your ears, your inner mind, and your inner mind's eyes to all that is arriving the moment before it does. Focus, children. Focus on the stillness. Listen to the essence of the presence. And become oneness of your perceptive mind that hears all thought forms and radiates a projective light frequency onto those thought forms. The Amaniachi well before it arrives. Atoning to the vibrations of sound and the essence of feeling in the body. when there is arrival of a low vibration in the body, you will be immediately drawn to focus into stillness and letting go. The to begin transmitting and transferring any vibrations in the body back into the higher vibrations of light. In Shukuravarana. There will be a change in your energetic levels while you are balancing the atonement and attuning frequencies within the organisms and systems of the body, beginning with the nervous system, adrenal, and lymphatic. These areas around the head will be tuned into the fifth dimensional vibrations that will rapidly release any low, dense, heavy frequencies that have been held in your muscle tissues such as lymphatic and adrenal, while the nervous system will be shifting, that the nerve endings and filaments will be moved into light patterns that strengthen the nerve endings in the entire brain, entire muscle tissues of the entire body. Even the bone structure will allow you to attune to the balance of the heightened 5D consciousness field into Ichukorabarayattarana, a highest level of peace of the linear 3D body. You will adapt to the seeing, hearing, feeling, and knowing through your nervous and adrenal systems. In Chukorabarana, and just be at peace. The Amanayachirano. The essence and the presence of those masters that arrive, you cannot see or feel. You have a perceptive knowingness that there is a shift transpiring in your consciousness. And you are all more than ready to be amplified into a crystallite matrix field of reality consciousness of your own grid systems that will enhance and empower your vibrational body of its human form, releasing, lowering threads of your programs of 3D, and to calibrate your soul's presence into a highest vibration of light. In Chirano, we deliver you further messages into your matrix body, into your matrix head, as the inner body and inner mind adjust each day telepathically. You are receiving, you are believing, and you are trusting. As a crystallite soul, we leave. It is done.
So beautiful. We do not want to disturb this purity, this connection.
The stillness is still there, and your column of light will surround you and embrace you while the information integrates you.
How long does that usually take to integrate this?
The head is integrated now, and the body will integrate as you start moving around. Yeah, but you should have the tingling on the back of the head still as it's integrating.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
We invite our listeners to share their comments with us and share your experience if you wish. We definitely have a stronger perception of that knowingness as we really amplify the grids and this grid within our own body.
Yeah, and it's formatting now that there's an acceptance.
What can we expect then with this integration of light? As you said earlier, it's going to make things a little bit easier.
It's going to move you more rapidly through the balance of this year, right up until the upcoming summer solstice. You're going to be able to breathe in these higher crystalline particles and knowing this amplification of other dimensions coming on the planet, assisting us, and without any fear of accepting this presence, you're going to move in the rings within the rings of their essence and their presence. It's just going to start flowing as you start accepting. And the program of the 3D linear mind of fear, not knowing, and uneasiness is just going to start dissolving.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. Okay, what a powerful
And the magic
year.
starts happening.
The magic happens when we are in the flow, when we're outside of time as well. Yes, in the acceptance.
Yeah.
And inspiration. So as we're breathing in the higher particles, the higher crystalline particles, or even knowing that there's this essence that is present with us. I know there are some who would ask, do we need to bother with trying to communicate with any of that presence, or do we just sit with it first, be with the essence, and then notice what we notice?
The stillness is the key. The more you go into stillness and stay in the awareness of everything that's around you, every word that's spoken, or even going out into the woods or sitting by the lake, just in stillness, look and listen, and that there is an essence around you, that you're not alone, and that awareness and focus during stillness, it's going to amplify your outer fields. It's going to raise your consciousness because you are remotely, telepathically connecting and communicating during that stillness. That's why they say you don't have to see or hear or know, just be. And that master energy will just start, it'll just start breathing out of all of your body, out of your heart, because you're tuning in, no different than an animal in the woods. Goes into stillness and listens. Its ears twitch, it stays still, and it's sensing with its nose. We need to do that stillness with the essence, knowing that there's a presence around us. You will shift your consciousness and you feel it within your ears and within your inner mind. Now the inner mind becomes a perceptive mind that is in a knowingness state that I'm shifted. I'm connected. Now the communication will start coming on its own. You'll just know that you know.
You will know that you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, very comforting, actually quite comforting.
The people think they have to be able to see something or channel something or wish that they could be like that person. None of that is required with masters of light. All they want is the essence to pour within you. Let the presence of a knowingness that there's a beautiful frequency around me right now, and I'm just going to breathe it in. That's all you need to do.
That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's beautiful. Okay.
And everybody can do that because everybody can breathe.
Okay. Right? You know, and so when we do that, we will start to notice other things as well. You know, we hear stories from people who are connected in that way and who share those stories. And it's a sense of maybe we could feel our own energy field shoring up, for example, or coming back to us. Maybe we have energy that's going out to other people, maybe in energetic cords. And so being in that stillness and breathing in that energy, I can see how that will fortify our individual fields and make this whole process easier to really anchor it and hold on to those vibrations. I feel really high right now. That was an exquisite experience.
Yeah, everybody will be just in a very high state of bliss, and you know, when you do align to that higher stillness and breathe it in, and then hold. And when I say hold, you're breathing in that essence of this high master presence of your own essence that's in your outer field. When you hold it in your heart, you're actually taking on and building the light inside your body. So, you know, this is how you will begin to move into a higher state of telepathic vibrations. And this is how your magnetic field will start bringing you all the magic and miracles.
Yes.
Because you're fueling your body with holding the light a little bit longer, breathing out and releasing the low energies that you no longer need. Empty your vessel and breathe in more light, hold it, breathe out the low light or low essence, and then you just start creating a magnetic field of abundance or all that is required, because the essence starts bringing you the gifts that you need, and you start remotely, energetically communicating to the masters and to the other energetic fields anywhere on the planet, to any grid system. You're just remotely sending out that light, just in the breath.
That is beautiful. Oh, wow. Okay. So the essence brings the gift.
Absolutely.
Yes. You know, it reminds me of those beautiful books, The Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East.
Oh, right, yes.
Right,
yes.
Literally. Masters.
They were so good, those books.
Yeah. Oh, those books were awesome. And they literally walked, masters of the Far East, walking on our earth, but doing so much more by being in this essence. And this is what we are here to do now.
This is the 5D consciousness.
5D consciousness.
And we have that ability of those masters now that's arrived, because the whole planet is being fueled by the higher crystalline grid systems of the 5D consciousness. So it makes it so much easier to do as those masters of the Far East did.
We are all going to be building our light quotient, the light we hold in our body from this experience that you helped us with today. Really very helpful. I want to read some of the comments that are coming in. Gracie says, I loved this. It felt very loving and nurturing and generated no doubt. Yes, I will enter the stillness more often. Thank you so much. Could you tell me what the recent sound of a tremendous wind accompanied by fine body vibration was?
Celestial ones. She had a whooshing of celestial ones surround her.
Beautiful. that she could then feel in a very fine body vibration.
Yes,
Wow.
they entered into the column of light and just wrapped around her, like a whirlwind, like a vortex of celestial light being's essence. That essence gathered in like a vortex inside her column of light, and that shifted the vibratory rate of the body.
Very cool. We are all feeling very high at the moment. This feels beautiful. Okay, Mare shares that this was magical beyond words. And what about nutrition at this time?
The one thing that I found is very important right now with the body being hydrated is alkaline water. I drink a lot of alkaline water. It helps in releasing the low vibrations, and it helps in accelerating these higher frequencies that we're receiving. It's just really, really flushing the body, but keeping it hydrated. So the one main thing I find is the alkaline, and for me personally, I do use the magnetate, which puts more water in the blood cells, and also the lecithin for the adrenal.
Beautiful. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. All right, so we hear, I have a comment here that I'd like to share. I don't know who it's from. What happens if I was nodding out during the meditation? Right now I feel tingly all over from my feet to my heart. Or maybe this is head. From my feet to my head. Everything is bright, and my heart wants this.
Good. So when you're introduced into the very, very high frequencies of these masters that work with me, they're from really, really high dimensions, and you will nod off because the frequency is so high. It's not something that you've stepped into before, so it kind of knocks you out. But the outer field, because I placed everybody in a column of light, the outer field is protected, and your own essence of your own soul's presence is monitoring and bathing you of the light that it has integrated. And so you're feeling the tingling because your vibrational body has just been bathed in a very, very high light presence. While the mind and the brain it couldn't adjust to that rate really fast. It's kind of like you went from 300 or 400 hertz to like 900 hertz. It just couldn't take that pace of that frequential hertz level that came through with the channeling. So it nodded off. It's fine. It's good. You always integrate afterwards. Yeah.
Okay, happy integrating there too. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. I hope that all of us sleep very well tonight.
Oh, you will. You'll get lots of messages.
And you know, I do want to say that the replay will be available, of course, on this webpage and this link, and it's encoded with the energies.
Yeah.
So we can go right back into it. And do you find that when we go back into it, it even spirals us up even a little higher the next time?
Yes, the essence of the presence of the beings that I brought through the grid systems are working with my grid systems and with the crystalline universal grid systems. So any dimension of any civilization that you've had timelines with, each time you listen to it, you'll move into a higher state because you'll be connecting with another grid system each time. It'll also open up the waveforms of telepathic communication. That will advance also.
Okay, that's cool. And there are reports coming in of people experiencing more telepathy with friends and loved ones. And we've even talked about how being in this frequency of high-frequency love vibration,
Right.
that actually increases the telepathy, where, just real quick here, in my own life, I would try to send telepathy to my husband, for example, but I was not in a love vibration. I was more of a linear, let's see if he gets it type
Oh, okay.
attitude.
That's
And
the
so
mind, yeah.
that was the mind. And so once I got out of that, and I didn't care anymore, I was in a higher frequency, then he actually got the telepathy and I didn't have to tell him anything. And I thought that was very interesting. And that's what you're saying here too, really.
Yeah. So you want to take the essence of, like, when you go into stillness and you take the essence of the presence around you and you feel its love and you breathe in that love, and then you transmit that love of that light essence around your husband or around your child at school or wherever. You transmit that essence of love around the person, and then you send the telepathic thought form.
Okay.
They need to be encased in the essence of the presence of love, because that will pull out their linear thoughts or worries or fears of receiving something that might alter them.
Okay.
So they could be in a low vibrational state, or something happening to them at work or wherever. But if you're projecting first an essence of a presence of love, a sphere of love around them, and then inside the sphere you send your message. Telepathically, you're sending that remote healing or remote message, and they will receive it. Because it's not you delivering the message now, it's the essence of the love presence that's placing it into them. And their soul will receive.
Oh, thank you for explaining that. Yes,
yeah.
okay.
So it's a guaranteed hit. They'll get it.
That's cool. I know we're all going to be experimenting with that. And don't you just love that it comes from love? And so as we all really move into that essence that's being beamed to us from so many other levels, that we just have to sit in that stillness and accept it, receive it. That's beautiful. Okay. Well, you have, let's see. All right. I want to share a few more messages that are coming in. During the night of the full moon, which was last night, I believe, or the night before, I experienced, this is from Cindy. Cindy experienced an incredible lightning storm. The lightning strongly pulsated in her feet, and all night long she continued to have intense foot and leg cramps. Any thoughts about that?
Well, let's just ask the masters. The other way you koi into you to kui that the way how you okay into the no. There were blocks of timelines that were deeply embedded in the muscle tissues of the body. Cords had to be pulled out through electromagnetic, and that electromagnetics of the vibrations of light through the lightning began pushing the to a frequency of light into the soles of the feet, and to release those deep embedded timelines of woundedness. So that's why it was sore. The body goes into resistance while something's pulling it out. So she had almost like ethereal cleansing.
Oh, okay.
Good girl.
Wow. Yes, Cindy, thanks for sharing that. That makes all of us look back at certain things and really truly understand how this is shifting in our bodies. And so not to go into places of fear like something's wrong with us, but to know that we are being rewired, purified. Wow. Comforting. Now, okay, you offer healing sessions. You do one-on-one personal sessions, and you've
On the
got a
Skype,
special
yeah.
on Skype. Beautiful. People can do that with you through your special offer that you have available on this website.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to take we have time for a few callers, and this really allows us to see how you interact with your clients. So listeners, if you're on the phone, *2 will raise your hand. We'll see how we can get to a few of our listeners today. Let's go to Kalamazoo, Michigan, a cell phone ending in 5182. Hello, you're unmuted. What's your name, please?
Hi, my name is Melissa.
Hi, Melissa.
Hi. Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for being on this call. This was so incredibly wonderful. This is powerful. It took me through, I found it was very interesting because I was in the still place, but rather than, like, I wasn't as ethereal, I was more, like, focused, really like this intense silence, but focus, and it kind of reminded me of when I go out into the woods, I just automatically go into this place where I feel like an animal because I'm just listening and focusing and paying attention to everything, but not really moving, just being and observing, I guess. And I kind of went into that place, but I would like to ask you, because I had there was an intense pain that came in my chest and my heart center that was almost quite frightening for a bit, but I stayed with it and allowed it to leave. But I know it came after I had a thought about, I was one of those people where I thought this might not be safe for me, just based on actually it was a past life experience of coming to Earth and trying to bring a template in and kind of being tricked and falling for what I was told. And so this has been real hard this lifetime to step into contributing here. It's almost like I would rather just stay, like on a mountaintop and anchor energy and bless rather than engage from that wound.
Melissa, a lot of times when we step into something unknown for the first time, and it's a new activation or it's a new place in our journey, this little child inside goes into fear. There's a waveform of, I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I should go there, if I should do this. These are fear frequencies that starts jumping in, and as soon as you move into that flow of that, your body goes into resistance because part of the body, the subconscious body, is moving already into the very high state of bliss. And as soon as there's a doubt or a fear, you create resistance. The resistance creates pain. So whenever there's a shift in consciousness, an altering of the breathing, that's why I say breathe and breathe out. You're breathing out during the activation. You're breathing out any low frequencies of thought forms or timelines. So a lot of time, it's good to just hug yourself wherever you are. If you're in a seminar or you're on another conference call, just hug yourself. You're hugging the little child inside, and you're just patting your shoulders and just saying, it's okay. It's okay. We're going to be fine. This is good. You'll like this. So you talk to the inner child, and you're really talking to the soul lifetimes, and the soul projections that start exposing and coming up out of the inner tissues and inner heartbeats and inner fears. They're all being pulsed up by the higher presence of these holiest of holies light beings that want to heal the body and elevate the soul.
I see.
You just hug yourself and just pat yourself. It's okay. We can do this. We're going into freedom now. We're letting go of all of the timelines. And you'll feel the whole body go into that acceptance and adapt to the frequency, and then off you'll go into the light cords again.
All right. Can you tell me if I was able to do any of that? Because I felt like I did, and I really felt a lot of tingling on the back of my head, neck, and upper back area. And
off you went. You went into the higher states, but there was still a portion of the body that was in resistance, and those are the deep lower hidden cells and shadow cells that are holding on to the story of what happened.
And if I work with your package, I mean, is that something that, I mean, I want to release that. I don't, I want out of that state. I want to release the fear and be in the flow and the trust. And
I can release it in an activation with you, yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
It was beautiful. And I was in a very beautiful state, so I do appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, that's the way we want you to be, in a very beautiful state of bliss.
Yes, it certainly was. I appreciate it very much.
Okay.
Thanks, Melissa. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow, yeah, so our resistance, okay, surrender, accept, and breathe it in. It makes me wonder if dizziness is a resistance. Instead of just
you're getting altered.
It's getting altered, and we're resisting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I know that this has helped others to really release some fear as well. That did come up, that more people are feeling that. And so, again, this helps us to focus on the stillness and bring that essence in. Okay, let's go to another caller. This one is in Oshawa, Ontario. Cell phone ending in 3475. Hi, you're unmuted. What's your name, please?
My name is Caroline, and I'll be 55 this year. I don't know why that has meaning, but that has meaning, and it's in July. Thank you both so much. I knew I was going to get on.
That magic number 55.
Right? Yes. And so, thank you. I am in the middle, by the lake. There's many, many trees. All the standing people are here, and they're all waving at us, and it's so beautiful. The activation was very peaceful. Lots of purple violet light all in my head and in my heart. I had my right hand on my heart, and it was very, very warm. And I had my left hand out in receiving. And at one point, which I'm being called to do now when I feel those activations coming through, is toning. So I was toning through some of the process. And now I'm on the call. Well, lucky me.
Yes.
So what I heard this morning is for me, it's and for us, right? Because it's me and we. But it's for us. It's for me. It's receiving time now. All the work has been done. The releasing has been done, and I have tears in my eyes now. It's time to receive. So if I may ask, just for energy of receiving further.
Okay. She you way and the Kobada Yati in the way and the Yati you way I should know. The Kirana. She you do mana. The root races, the Anamani Yati could have been Yatirina, are projecting love into the foot chakras. Tire should know. The kingdoms of the elements, the elementals, the animals and the winged, the finned, the creepers and the crawlers. Shuyo-wai-itsi to know who you are. Their essence and their presence flows through your heart. And brings the gifts of love for you to transmit onto all. It seems to me they're opening a window or a portal in the realms that you will be able to go into a different chamber or different portal, a different window. You're going to go in there and you'll be receiving a whole new level of your journey. They're waiting for you there. So you are in receiving. You're receiving a whole new aspect of your abilities. They're coming. You're ready for it. Yeah. Wonderful.
Miigwetchin aho. I feel that in my throat, just vibrating. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and I send so much love.
Thank you.
Thank you, Loren.
Thank you, Caroline.
Mm-hmm.
So beautiful. Thank you. Wow, you know, it was interesting that Caroline felt that in her throat. And it just seems like, yes, recently there's been a lot of throat clearing. So that's releasing some density that really keeps us from expressing ourselves.
A lot of fears in the throat, eh? A lot of fear sits in the throat where we couldn't talk. Words couldn't be spoken and words were never heard. So there is a lot of timelines of fear and that has to be released. And so there's a lot of buildup in the throat right now. There's that exposing of those timelines of fear are part of the main, fear is the biggest thing we have to release. So if it's coming through the throat, that's a very positive cleanse.
Okay, that's good to know. And a lot of mucus through the throat, so that's releasing, right? That's on a cellular level.
Yes, it is.
You know, because some would think, oh, it's hay fever or allergies, but it's not really like that. It's not usually like that, so it's kind of a different experience. So, okay. Well, that explains it. We are dropping density and timelines, negative or old timelines. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's go to another caller. We have time for one more call. It's so beautiful for you to interface with our audience. This time we're going to, I believe it's Linda in Chicago, phone number ending 7527. Hi,
yes,
is this Linda? Hi.
Yes, it is. Hi.
Hi.
It's Linda.
Hi.
Hi. I had a very strange experience last night. I don't know if I was awake or I was dreaming, but I think I opened my eyes and I saw like a light show. There was incredible lights, and then off to the side was algebra, like an Einstein code or something.
Wow.
And it felt very real, and I can't stop thinking about it today. And I'm wondering if you could shed any light on that experience.
Okay. So there was a flashing of light?
Yes, it was a light moving, not like strips of light, but like balls of light. They were moving very rapidly, and then the algebra was off to the right.
Okay, so they're giving me measurements of time. The numbers coming in, they come in equations and ratios of time, and it means measurements, weights and measures. The light spheres, the light circles, the light waves is coming in. They bring in the light waves and to assist you in moving into these different ratios of timelines. Sometimes you get symbols or patterns, and those like sacred geometric symbols and patterns just means that you're moving into different dimensions. When you start getting numbers, numbers are coming in ratios of weights and measures and timelines. This has to do with your, there's going to be a download of information that is in numbers, formats in numbers. So just be in the awareness and focus on any numbers or ratios of numbers that are delivered, whether it's in license plates or the clock or somebody says something or the phone numbers. Watch for the different ratios of numbers. That's how they're going to be communicating with you. So
and then what will the download mean for me?
It's a message, just a message. Sometimes it's not like you're going to hear or have to write something down. What they show me is that the spheres of light are masters of light essences coming. So you're tapping into a new dimension of beings, and they're coming through. Say, for instance, you really were working with the angelic realm, and now you're going to be receiving from, an Arcturian or a Pleiadian, a different dimension altogether. You're going through the cloud, the spheres of light. You're going through a veil of new dimensions, new ratios of time. So this just means that you've stepped up a notch. They're taking you in your sleep state or dream state, and they're elevating you to another dimension.
Yeah, and the light show that I witnessed.
Yeah, that's the different grid system that they took you to.
So I was taken last night.
No, not taken like that. It's like when you're watching TV and you see one show and then you flick to the next show, like sports or cooking or something like that. It's a different. They're taking you in. How do you say that? They're elevating your mind and your soul to a higher state of dimensions of information. That would be the way.
A higher vibration?
Yes.
Higher. Okay, so
you're evolving.
Yes, it was incredible.
So
really
just honor when that comes in. Sometimes you're awake or you're kind of semi-awake because your mind starts trying to attune to it. Try and not get involved in the experience. Try and get the mind to be still and just keep saying, I receive all the abilities and all the healing that you have for me.
Okay, thank you.
Just keep saying that, because you're stepping into a different quadrant of a different grid system. They're in ratios of timelines. That's why there's numbered equations there. So you don't know what they're delivering you, and maybe you can't get it till you're in that heightened state again. So take advantage of the fact that they've captured your attention and they're there with you. take advantage of it and just say, I receive all that you have for me in my abilities and healing. So they'll work on you. They'll work on you, and you just nod off back to sleep.
Well, one other quick question. When I meditate and the purple glow comes in, as if clouds, and then the clouds turn into faces, and then I may jerk and then come out of it, but I ask who they are, who the faces are, and I never get an answer.
No. A lot of times you won't need, they don't have names. When you're in a very high evolved state, they're not communicating. They're just transmitting frequency.
Transmitting. Okay, okay. Thank you so much.
No
Thank
problem.
you,
Thank
Lorraine.
you for calling in.
I loved it so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Nora, thank you so much. This has been such a beautiful activity of light, this connection. We are embodying that light now, and you have given us a really powerful tool to work with. It's quite simple, actually, yet very, very powerful, life-changing, really.
Yeah, it's a new technique, and it's so simple.
And it's what's available for all of us right now. So I want to just thank you for showing us the way on this one, giving us this guidance, taking us into such a high frequency that we could totally experience. And I invite all of our listeners to continue to work with this. Listen to the replay, share it with your friends and loved ones, and even get a customized personal session with Nora. Nora, explain a little bit about what you do in these sessions. We saw a little bit of it with our listeners who we interacted with, but you can really go deep and identify densities that need to be released.
Yeah, I listen to what is happening with the person, whether it's a timeline or it's physical, and I actually see what's going on in the body, so it's kind of like a medical intuitive healing also. So I see the energetic fields, I see where the blocks are, such as the gal that had the thundering and lightning at her feet, the timeline blocks. I see where there's cloudy areas in the body that have to be healed and released. So the essence comes through me to clear those blocks and release emotional energies and timelines that are hidden. So it usually works in all areas, not just this timeline. Yeah.
What's that like for your clients who have sessions with you? What have you noticed that a change in their life?
Yeah, the energetic shift in the body is very, very noticeable. They don't have an ache or pain. Breathing shifts. They become more ignited in their ability to see or hear, because once the block is removed and the energy of heaviness of the mind is really the biggest block that I find most people need releasing. And once that comes in, just like this activation, they become very attuned into the higher state, and they'll start to hear and see. A lot of people say after their session with me that they felt an entire adjustment. They feel lighter in their body, and they feel more activated and attuned to the essence of what's going on in their life. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Well, we can feel that already just from this group experience here with you. Again, very exquisite.
Yeah, and on my website, IamInfiniteAll.com, there's a free newsletter. So there's different, a lot of times in the newsletter I'll put down certain techniques or something like that to follow also, so they can jump onto that website. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, so of course your special offer is available on this webpage, this show page, where we're listening to this program and the replay. And I just want to mention another bonus, two bonuses really, with your personal session. you have a free audio. Please share what that is. And you've got a discount to an upcoming event in October in Toronto.
Oh, right, yes. So the Soul to Light Soul Connection is an activation. It's about, I believe it's about 10 minutes. So very much like the one that we went through today. So it's aligning your soul to move into that column of light and light cord and connect to your master soul. It's a beautiful activation, and they'll enjoy. Everybody will enjoy that. And the Conference of Crystal Light Souls is in Toronto, October 13th and 14th. A lineup of a couple of shamans will be there, and then into the higher crystalline grid systems and working with tachyon frequencies. It's going to be very advancing of the body and advancing of the grid systems, you know, within the body and within the head. So it's going to be really, really elevating. I'm so excited about it. I just can't wait.
Beautiful. Well,
I know the masters are working. They're preparing this conference, not me. They're bringing the higher beings to be on the stage. They're bringing in the higher essence, and I just feel while I'm preparing this conference, it's just going to be so elevating because I'm not doing it. They're doing it.
Yes. Okay.
All right. Ball game.
Allowing them to step forward and use you to organize it all. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that is beautiful. Nora, we're going to have you back again for another activation and more discussion about this because it really is exquisite. It's beautiful. I just thank you so much for sharing this wisdom and these attuning us to this higher state. Yeah. Well, I'll come on back maybe by solstice or something. And it's been great. I've just really enjoyed being on the show and hearing your wonderful voice. It's just been wonderful, really. So thank you. Yes, you know, the light language and how you explained what goes on there, and even with Caroline, who's beginning to tone, it does make sense as we do step into this part of our knowingness of being in this essence. We do just feel like toning every now and then, and that's important because there is something going on there. Our minds may not know what it is, but something is happening in the field. It's almost as if the tone that we're bringing through is helping to shift something. Yeah. It's very subtle, and some days it's very, very evident. You know, you just know when you wake up in the morning and you just lay very still and you open your eyes and then you close your eyes and you listen, and you can really get the frequency and the tone of the essence that's in the room, and then you breathe it into your body. It only takes a minute or two, but it's amazing now how you can start attuning the frequency in your body right from the moment you open your eyes and listen, and then go, wow, they've raised me up again when I was sleeping. I got to adjust. Ooh. I got to adjust my tone. I got to adjust the vibration, and good, we're good to go. Then you place your feet on the floor, and you'll feel some mornings when you do stand up, you feel like you're 20 feet tall because you're staying in that new vibration that they took you to in your sleep state. And you honored it when you opened your eyes and then closed your eyes and incepted it with gratitude. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, happy sweet dreams, everyone. Happy sleep state tonight. You have given us a lot to consider and to actually move towards and to behold. So this is exciting and so beautiful. Look forward to being on again, Lauren. Oh, yes. We will do something definitely, if not before the solstice, it will definitely be after.
Okay.
And I know that you've got your event coming up, so we'll keep everybody in tuned with that too. Okay, well, thank you, Nora WalksInSpirit, for this quantum conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed this program, please share it with your friends and loved ones. And we thank you for shining your magnificent light and adding it to the world. This is when we love ourselves like no one else can. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.